Welcome back, friends. Hey, Ribbit, time to explore wetlands.
Ribbit. Right you are, Chaka. For a long time, humans thought wetlands were more of a nuisance than anything else. Wet, marshy ground that gets in the way of developing farmland and is expensive to drain. What many people don't realize is that wetlands are some of the most important habitats on Earth.
But what is a wetland, my little green friend?
A wetland is an area where much or all of the soil is very wet with fresh water either permanently or seasonally. Examples of wetlands are marshes, bogs, swamps, and flays.
So the name wetland is pretty descriptive. It's wet land.
Yep, and they all have unique soil types and special plants adapted to being in water or very wet soil all the time. Wetlands are found in areas where the slope is gentle, the vegetation dense, and the landscape holds water like a basin.
But why are the wetlands so important, Ribbit?
Well, because wetlands can slow down the movement of water and keep it for a while, they are able to purify water like a filter, provide habitat for high biodiversity, act as a nursery area, provide fresh water in drought, buffer floods, and reduce evaporation.
Wow, wetlands sound really special.
Yes, they are, Chaka, and I think we should explore these features in more detail a bit later.
Hi everyone, we have just learnt about wetlands, but why, you may ask? Well, my friend Ribbit is going to tell you how important wetlands are.
Thanks, Chaka. This is important information, so stay tuned in. Let's have a closer look at how wetlands function. Wetlands are natural filters helping to purify water because wetlands slow down the flow of water and trap sediment. There is a wide surface area for exchanges to take place between soil and water. Wetlands provide an ideal site for denitrification where nitrates are changed into nitrogen gas. Wetland plants take up the nitrates. Wetland soils trap heavy metals and pesticides.
So the water leaving a wetland is actually purer than the water entering it.
Correct, Chaka. This is why it is important to conserve our wetlands.
Ribbit, can you give us an example of a wetland?
A very important example of a freshwater wetland in southern Africa is the Okavango Delta.
A few of these sites are particularly close to where I live, and while I might not venture into these wetlands, that doesn't mean they're not important. I suppose that wetlands, like rivers, have an ecosystem and food chains.
That's right. The specially adapted plants provide shelter and food for particular animal species in the wetlands. Millions of insects thrive in this environment and in turn are a food source for fish, frogs and birds. Here again, like in rivers, we will find typical food chains forming complex food webs.
I've heard that wetlands are very important habitats for a large variety of bird life. Is that true, Ribbit?
Yes, just look at all of these.
Do you know any more interesting facts about wetlands?
I sure do. Water flowing into wetlands slows down and spreads out, so floods can be buffered this way. Plants in the wetland play an important role in holding back the water. Wetlands act as sponges and can store a lot of floodwater, releasing it slowly instead of it all rushing to the sea within a few days. This greatly reduces flood damage, particularly erosion, and ensures a more steady supply of water throughout the year. In wetlands, decomposition is slower than normal because of the lack of oxygen in the soil. This causes carbon to be trapped instead of being released into the atmosphere as carbon dioxide. This is a vital function because nowadays too much carbon dioxide is being released into the atmosphere as a result of coal and oil being used to produce energy. This is one of the reasons our global climate is changing. Did you know, Chaka, coal is in fact formed from plant material accumulated under wetland conditions in swamps that existed millions of years ago?
Wow, that is interesting. So wouldn't it be better for humans to conserve wetlands?
Absolutely.